So today we're going to talk about our writer's notebook section of our classroom binder. We're going to add some rules and some ways that we live in our writer's notebook and some kind of things that we normally do every time that we get into our writer's notebook. So turn in your classroom binder to your writer's notebook. Yesterday we took some notes on claim, but the way that we did that was we flipped past this very first page and we took our notes on the second page of our writer's notebook. Today, where I want to be in our writer's notebook is not the front side of this page, but the back side of it, back here. Okay? So we are essentially writing some rules on the back side of that very first page in our writer's notebook. Okay? What we're going to do first is we are going to put today's date in the top right hand corner. So today's date is 8/29/17. And then we're gonna give this page a title. And the title of this page is Ways We Live in Our Notebooks. So when we use our writer's notebooks, or anytime we're working in our writer's notebooks, there are 4 things that we need to always do and always keep in mind. So the first thing that we need to do is write in pen only. And here's why. Visual mistakes, the things that we can go back and look at, visual mistakes are a good thing. Because, and you might be thinking, now what on earth, a mistake is a good thing? Yes, it is. Because this helps us see our growth. We can look back at all the things that we've learned and all the mistakes that we've learned from and grown from. So visual mistakes are a good thing because they show growth. Okay? Rule number 2. We are going to, I'll discuss this in further depth in just a minute, but first we're going to write the rules down, and rule number 2 is personalize your cover. To make it special. Because sometimes when we write in our writer's notebooks, we just want to, we want this to be part of our life. And if it's not, if our cover is kind of boring and bland like it is right now, right? It doesn't mean that much to us and we don't have ownership. So we're going to personalize our cover to make it special. We'll do that. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Number 3, and this is a big one with me, writing time is quiet time. Okay? We are going to be respectful of ourselves and others when we write. And in order to do that, we need to be quiet. Okay? This is a big rule for me, rule number 3. And rule number 4, every time we write in our writer's notebooks, we are going to include the date and a title for each entry. For each notebook entry. Okay, so these 4 rules are really rules that I'm going to be really particular about as we go through this year. So hopefully you followed rule number 1 as you've been writing this, and you wrote this entry in pen. Now, in specific, I would really rather that you write either with a blue or black ink, but really, technically, I really would anything other than red, please. So write in pen. We're going to personalize our cover to make it special. Writing time is quiet time. And we're going to include the date and a title for each notebook entry. So let me tell you about rule number 2. For rule number 2, what I mean, I'm going to show you an example of what you might do with the cover of your particular notebook. Your notebook might look something like my monster notebook. Do you see what's happening here? This person has drawn some things on the cover of it that are kind of special. They've even put a fingerprint here on the front of it in red ink. They've taped some things to the front that maybe mean something to them or relate to their monster notebook somehow. You also might notice as you open this up that there are things that are that look like they have been paper clipped or taped or glued or drawn. Do you see all the things that are happening here? Looks like maybe a post-it note that they've put here somewhere that they found. You notice though, the biggest thing that you might notice is that it's not perfect. Okay? But it is unique. Again, it belongs, you can obviously tell if this got lost, if this monster notebook got lost, you'd be able to tell who it belongs to pretty much right away because it's so unique. So what I want to tell you that you can do with the cover of your writer's notebook is you can unclip this out of your binder and you can take this page home with you tonight or whenever you need to actually and bring it back. But what I want you to do is to decorate this side of your page. Now I only have 2 rules that go along with this. The first one is that somewhere on here it needs to have your name. Okay? Secondly is when you decorate the front of this, it needs to be able to be read. This side still needs to be able to be read. You need to be able to see the rules that you've written down on this side. So it probably wouldn't be the best idea for you to use a marker on this side because if we use markers on this side, it bleeds through and we can't read our rules that we've written down. So make sure that if you decorate this side of it, that you use something that you can still read the rules that you've written on the back side. Also, if you want to, you can take a piece of stronger, thicker, maybe like cardstock or construction paper, and you can decorate that and then maybe glue it to this so that you don't have things that are bleeding through like that. Anything that you want to do, as long as you have your name on the front and you can still read your rules that you've written on the back. Also, if this doesn't sound like it's very exciting to you, if you're not a very artsy person and you really would just rather write in your writer's notebook, that's completely fine. If you want to just write your name here on the front, that is absolutely fine, as long as you've got your name written on the front. And then we will stick it back into as our first page in our writer's notebooks. And there we have our rules and our personalized writer's notebook.